The things that you have in your heart that you think are impossible are often just milestones waiting to get accomplished if you can push those limits. Everything was impossible until somebody else did it. So you can either hang around people that tell you it can be done, or hang around those that inspire possibilities. Welcome to the Inspiring Possibilities Podcast. Weekly interviews with entrepreneurs, artists, those that inspire possibilities. And I'm your host, Julian Marion.
Sometimes it takes more strength to surrender than it takes to keep on fighting. See, like as guys, oftentimes we just fight, right? Like I remember, like I kept on fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting without results, right? Like you keep on fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting, like with no result. You know, when all I had to do was surrender, right? Surrender and being all in. Surrender than being all in inside of my family, my business, my body, and my calling. And things start to open up. But oftentimes as guys, like it's such a hard thing to surrender. You know, it's almost like whenever you look at like a male dog, right? If you grab a female dog and you put her on her back to surrender, she just like lays there and just wait. If you're trying to put a male dog, like what does he do? He just fights. Like he does not want to be on his back. Like he is kicking, he is fighting, he is biting, he's doing all this fighting when you're like, just relax. Like I'm just trying to, remove this thing in your foot. But he just does not want to surrender. He feels like he is less than if he surrenders. And oftentimes as guys, like that's the issue and the challenge that we have, is that we feel like if we surrender because, we are weak somewhere, right? That somehow it makes us less than, right? It makes us less than. But that's not the truth. The truth is like that stuff was never meant for you to carry, right? Like that was never meant for you to carry. The ego, the pain, for me, it was really this place of feeling inferior then, right? Because of my mixed heritage, because black people told me I was white people told me I was black, and I was never fully accepted wherever I went. Like it just felt like you're just this odd person because of like the color of your skin and your lineage, right? And that if you say, oh, I'm black, then you pretty much telling like you're the white side of your family, they're not as important. If you say that you're white, then you say the black part of your family, they're not as important. And I create this ego, right? To say like, I'm not you guys and I'm not you guys. I'm just a mix of you and I'm the best of both of you, right? Just to go and to protect you. But deep inside, I still had this feeling of just like, I can't relate to people that don't look like me, right? I just can't relate because it was something that was carrying for so long. So I fought wherever I went. I fought when I played sport. I fought in school. I fought outside of school. I fought when I was working, right? And I fought everywhere. And then became a dad. And then still fought in my home for respect because I never wanted to be seen for less than. But here is the thing. When I realized that it was never meant for me to carry, and the only thing I had to do is literally surrender that which I can't fix. Oh my gosh. Like first, it felt like, really? Is that it? Like that's it? I just need to surrender? Right? Like it felt like this simplest thing, which it is, but somehow still felt like the hardest thing. But why? Because especially as an achiever, right? Someone that likes to achieve things, right? And puts value behind achievement, is this thing when you said, hey, I believe in hard work. If I work hard, I get rewarded. And here doesn't feel like work. It just feels like surrender. It just feels like I'm just putting this thing down and asking for somebody else to do the work, right? And it just never felt right, right? And listen, I was born a Christian, like my entire life. And somehow still as a grown man, had to get to this place of understanding deep inside that it is not mine to carry. Right? It is not mine to carry. It is mine to surrender. That's it. It is just mine to surrender to God. So, it is 2024, beginning of 2024. So where are you? Right? What do you need to surrender? Is it the ego? Is it the listening to your wife more? Ooh, I know I just heard somebody. Right? Like God got you with her for a reason. You need to figure out what that reason is. And your wife is the expert on you. She has know more about you than maybe any other people have. Right? And sometimes she can say exactly the thing to just go and trigger you. Get you to move. Sometimes in the wrong direction. Right? Because you're not willing to surrender control. Right? You're not willing to surrender control. And as a dynamic leader and a dynamic speaker, it is very hard to surrender control. I will argue that it is harder to surrender control than maybe for any other archetype. Right? A dynamic speaker and a dynamic leader, it is harder to surrender control, but it is the way. It is the direction. Because instead of surrendering control and laying down stuff at his feet and then trusting, your wife's love and you being able to just let go and surrender your ego, let go and surrender maybe things that you think you know, and just listen and ask question and be present and turn the volume down on your physical expression, turn the volume down on the loudness, right, of your voice, just to turn it down so that she has space. Maybe that's what you need to surrender. Because once you do, there's a different world that opens up. There's a different frame of the way you see your wife, the way you see the world, the way you see you that opens up. So, my wish is that this year in 2024, you are going to surrender the things that you know you need to surrender. The things that you've been fighting against for so long. Just surrender them. Right? Maybe it's pornography. Maybe it's alcohol. Maybe it's gaming. Maybe it's binge watching TV. Just surrendering those. Maybe it's just not knowing how to play with your kids. Maybe it's not being able to stay in a long conversation with your wife without blowing up. And you're like, man, I want to, I'm trying to, but somehow I just can't do it. And so you fight. First is just saying like, I surrender. I don't know how to do it. I just don't know how to do it. I just need you to help me. And tell your wife, I surrender. I just don't know how to do it. I need your help. Just that action, I promise you, will open up a new world for you. A brand new world. A world where you're going to feel free. A world where you're going to feel guided every single day. One of the things that I use is a prayer stack. Right? The prayer stack is one of the things that I use inside of our training, for the guys. And it allows you every day to be able to come in this, dialogue with God. See, like most Christian, right? And I don't have stats for that, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty high. Have this New Year resolution of, I'm going to read the entire Bible this year. Reading the Bible is great. But what it also doesn't do, it does not make you have a conversation with God or a dialogue with God. It gives you knowledge. It gives you context. Like all that. Great. But really what he wants you to do is have a dialogue and a conversation with him daily. What I mean by that is coming in and just laying it down at his feet, right? Like, this is what's happening. I want God to know this is what's happening in my body. This is what's happening in my relationships. This is what's happening in my business. This is what's happening in my calling and purpose. And then asking the question, like, what do you want me to do? Like, what do you want me to see? What do you want me to hear? What do you want me to know? What do you want me to feel? And letting it surface. See, like, oftentimes, like, we try to judge the answer, right? Like, it's our other self. But, like, I deeply believe that God speaks to me through me. And the first time it happened, it was very wild. But whenever you understand that he said he's always with you all the time, right? And you get to the place of like recognizing his voice, then it's really just having a conversation with him like every single day. And I encourage that you do it first thing in the morning, because first thing in the morning, there's just such an openness inside of your mind, your brain, the calmness of your body, that there's not too much outside influence, right? And you're a lot more open to be able to have this dialogue and conversation with God. And then from there, the last question you ask is like, what do you want me to do? And then just go, like, just write down what it is, and then just, this is what you do. Because from there, you're going to feel guided, you're going to feel weaponized for the day, and your life was never, ever going to be the same. Promise you. All right. So if you want to learn more about the stack, just go to julianmarion.org or go to Instagram at julianinspires and send me a DM, and then I'll share it with you. But it is going to change the way you have this conversation with God. And if you do it once a week or daily, your relationship with God is never going to be the same. Your confidence in the direction that you're going to, as a leader, as a dynamic leader and dynamic speaker, you are the person that guides and brings a light to people. And sometimes it's harder for us to be able to have that light shine back on us to where to go, because we're leading so many, right? And so this is going to change your life. I promise you. Talk to you soon. Peace.